Good evening. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Natasha Jog. Our focus over the next half hour, the abortion debate, mother's choice versus life of the fetus. Is that what we're looking at? And this is the reason why we are doing this program tonight. I wish my baby dies at birth. A woman with a 27-year-old fetus has said this after being refused permission to abort by the courts. In India, abortion is legal till 20 weeks or 5 months and not permitted after that except in certain special circumstances, which include if there is any threat to the woman's emotional or physical state. Both the woman and the family in this case say that they are distraught. They ask who will bear the financial burden. Of course, bringing the focus back on services that we have in place to help families and those who are differently abled or face very different challenges from the majority of the population. All that is what we are looking at. Joining me on the program today from Bengaluru, Dr. Devi Prasad Shetty, Director Narayan Hridayalaya. He's also someone, of course, who has worked for many, many years with children with these congenital defects. Joining me from Mumbai is going to be the young woman who's in fact gone to the courts. We're not naming her, we're not identifying her. Very brave of her to come on the program along with her doctor, Nikhil Datar, a consultant gynecologist, namely at Cloud9 Hospitals. Also with us in the Delhi studio, Mary Barua, Head of Action for Autism, someone who has seen very personally, close hand, what autism can do, what it's all about, and really responsible for the way India is now finally understanding this challenge. Also with us, Shanti Olak, founder member of Muskan, again someone who's worked for many years with those who are differently able. Thanks all so much for being with us on the program. Dr. Devi Shetty, let me start by asking you, one of the things that you write in this letter that you've written this morning, in this blog that you've written this morning, is no parent is happy to have a child with incurable cardiac problems or Down syndrome. Most of them do a wonderful job and love their kids like every other parent. However, you say, if they were given a choice to go back in time before the baby was born, we certainly believe most of them would have opted out of it. Now, there are many who would, of course, hear this and say that that is perhaps not entirely the case. And can you really speak for all of them? How would you respond to that criticism, sir?
See, I know that almost all the parents I deal with thousands of parents with complex heart problem. Fortunately, they all have curable condition. One operation, once in their lifetime, they are cured. I am talking about a very small percentage of the children suffering from incurable cardiac condition, wherein in spite of 2 or 3 heart surgeries in different point of time, they don't live up to the age of 30 or 40 years. Now, I'm talking about this small sub-segment of patients. And I'm also talking about 62-year-old, 65-year-old mothers who are about to undergo heart operation, who have a child with the serious mental disability, and they're not bothered about their life. They're bothered about what happens to me if something happens to my life, who's going to take care of the child. Right. So all I am trying to say is that things have changed. Today there are technologies to understand, diagnose this problem at a very early stage. Right. And there are safe way to, there are options for the mothers. I just want the option to be extended. Okay. And I want the mother to be educated, and it should be her decision. Right. In spite of that, if she wants it, it's her wish. We should endorse it. We support it. Okay, again, so we come back to choice. We come back to the issue of choice. Let me go across to Mumbai. We have that young woman with us in the Mumbai studios. मैं जानती हूँ कि ये आपके लिए बहुत मुश्किल समय होगा. This is a very difficult time. I can't even imagine कि अभी आप किस दौर से गुजर रही हैं. आपने एक बहुत ही passionate, बहुत ही मूविंग स्टेटमेंट दिया. आपने कहा कि आई विश कि ये बच्चा एज सून एज दिस चाइल्ड इज बॉर्न ये बच्चा मर जाए. नो पेरेंट रियली कैन विश दैट. बट जब आप कोर्ट गई थी, आपको उम्मीद थी कि कोर्ट जो बोलेगा वो आपके हित में होगा, क्योंकि ये तो बिल्कुल हमारे जो लॉज हैं उससे बिल्कुल अगेंस्ट था जो आप मांग रहे थे? मैडम, आपको हमारी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, थोड़ा लाउडली बात करिए ना मैम.
जी, हम बस आपसे पूछना चाह रहे थे कि ये तो बहुत मुश्किल समय होगा. आगे आप क्या करेंगी? आपने कहा था कि आप चीफ जस्टिस को भी लिखेंगी. क्या आपको उम्मीद है कि आपके हित में फैसला होगा?
क्या बता रहे? Hello.
We're going to just try and re-establish that and just sort of fix that. Dr. Barua, if I could get you in at this stage, we've heard what that young mother has said. She's, you know, it really is quite a moving statement. You've also heard what Dr. Devi Shetty is saying. Where do you come in? And there are all those who would say that there's of course the life of the fetus, there's also the choice, the issue of choice. And this is a debate that's playing out all over the world.
Yes. You see, first of all, it's very hard for me to anyway agree with what Dr. Shetty said, that parents who have children with disabilities, if they had to go back in time, they wouldn't want that child. That is absolutely not true for many, many, many parents I know. If I had to live my life again, I would want my son exactly the way he is, because the son I know and I love is the son with autism. If he did not have autism, he'd be a different person. He would not be the person I absolutely adore and I live with, right? So that's one. Secondly, the fact, what Dr. Shetty said, is that those who have, severe kind of conditions and stuff like that, it's a reflection on society. This is exactly what was said about women, what Dr. Shetty is saying now. Women were, they were stupid, they didn't have any intelligence, they couldn't do anything in life, they needed the help of men. Therefore, kill them off. The fewer women you had, just have enough women for procreation.
You're also making the point that there should still be a choice. Is that something that you would still support?
See,
if there are all those parents out there who say, we're not sure if we can deal with this, we're not sure if we can cope with this.
Okay, so when I say that for all fetuses, you have the right to abort till say 24 months, 24 weeks, right? Yeah, you have the right to abort till 24 weeks. But if there is a disability, then you have a special rule and you can abort beyond that as well, right? The minute I say that, what I'm suggesting is that people who have a disability, their lives do not have any worth. And for the Supreme Court to do that is giving a message to society that people with disabilities do not have any worth.
I see the point that you're making. Dr. Devi Shetty, come in here. When we say that we want to do this, when we say that, extend this, why stop at 20 weeks, let it go beyond in cases, where there is a need to allow this kind of flexibility, is the message going out that people with disabilities do not matter? Respond to that, Dr. Shetty, quickly, and I'll get everybody else in.
See, I'm not talking about all types of disabilities. Most disabilities, people can lead a normal life. I am talking about incurable cardiac condition where, in spite of best possible treatment, children don't live past the age of 20 or 30. I'm talking about serious mental retardation where a child cannot lead an independent life. Do we have a society, we have a situation, we have a system in this country to protect these children in giving them special education, their special schools, and then to take care of them throughout their life? Today it is very, very hard. I am not talking about mothers just now who spoke. I admire her, that lady. I hats off to her. But believe me, in my practice, most of the mothers are not privileged or do not have that kind of a attitude towards the facing this uncertainty. They are helpless. So when all I am asking is give them a choice, give them the knowledge, let them choose. That's all.
Dr. Aulat, you have a child who has the Down syndrome. Yes. This would, of course, categorize among those serious challenges that Dr. Shetty is talking about. The point that he's making is that A, as a society, we haven't thought about people who are off the mainstream, as it were. Can their parents cope? It is, of course, a huge emotional burden. It's also a huge financial burden. Can every parent cope? If a parent who believes they can't cope, should they have a choice? Where do you come in?
See, one thing that neither it is too much of an emotional burden that cannot be dealt with, neither it is too much of a financial burden. I don't like the word burden at all, because every child requires emotional as well as the financial resources of the parents.
About awareness, because you're saying it's not that the perception is perhaps not correct.
The problem is of awareness. The problem is of attitude of the society, where we can. It's not the life itself which is being considered valuable and precious, but what one becomes. is becoming more and more, you see, worthy in the eyes of the people.
Okay.
Let me tell you, my son who has Down syndrome is completing 41 years, and I wouldn't want him to be any different than what he is. What Dr. Shetty said, that many parents would like to, you see, not continue with the baby. The reason being, there is no awareness.
There's no awareness. And there's no support system also.
There is absolutely no services. Whatever services have come, both in the field of autism and the intellectual disability and Down syndrome, it is started by the parents themselves. And the kind of, you see, transformation, inner transformation which happens because there is a situation and we all come up with very high expectations and sometimes unrealistic expectations
and then
from our children.
Find your ways
and then,
around.
So, when you realize that we have no right to put unrealistic expectation on anyone, and everybody, irrespective of the condition, enjoys life in his or her own way. Who are we to place value?
Okay, all right. Dr. Datar, you're somebody who has been campaigning for this for a long time. You, in fact, even went to the court way back in 2008 for a similar case. And then again, that was your plea again was struck down. First question to you, sir, is that why did you believe this time things would be different?
Well, first of all, I must clarify a couple of issues. First and foremost, I believe that one should not be pro-life, one should not be pro-choice, one should be pro-patient, pro-woman, the lady who is going to take care of the baby. We are essentially only and only talking about those abnormalities which are substantial and serious in nature. Way back in 1971, we have already set a law that for substantial abnormalities which have serious implications, the law allows the woman to terminate the pregnancy. So the question that I am asking again and again is very simple, that if the same woman, the same problem, and if it's a problem which is of substantial nature, then what suddenly happens at 20 weeks? Why does a way of kind of looking at it differs as soon as the 20 weeks limit is crossed? So some treatment which is possible to be given prior to 20 weeks, why could she not have the same treatment after 20 weeks? So the question is very specific. For a woman who wants a termination for a valid reason, why should you have cutoff of 20 weeks? That's the only question that I have been asking for last couple of years.
Let me just take that to my panelists here. Dr. Datar, let me just take that to my panelists here. Many come in at that stage. If it's okay till 20 weeks, what changes post 20? Why should the state get in? That's perhaps the question that Dr. Datar there is trying to ask.
Okay, then abortion should be allowed to everybody for everything. Why does it have to be for disability? That's the distinction. See, I can understand what the young mother is going through. I mean, I do not even want to get there because it's a very, very difficult time for her. Particularly difficult if she does not have supportive people around her telling her that having a child with Down syndrome is not the end of the world. If people are not telling her that your child can do a lot, right? It's not the and this is
syndrome, which means that he or she's going to have an underdeveloped brain and a distorted spine, and something that she's seen her 27-year-old.
That's the thing. I was told when my son was diagnosed, forget about him. That's what the doctor told me. Forget about your son. He's going to be a useless vegetable. Go and have another child. Now, if I believe that, and that's what society is telling me, it is a reflection on our society. If there are no services, that's the reflection. Just the way there was nothing for women. And when we say that, why the cutoff of the 20, I would say, if you are going to permit abortion, permit it for everything. Then why not a woman? Why not a girl child? Why only disability?
Dr. Shetty, would you like to respond to that?
Why just disability?
Is this opening a Pandora's box really in a sense?
Request is,
no,
my request is, I just want, today the cutoff period of 20 weeks is too short, because too short a time for the mother to decide, less time for the doctors to convince themselves that this is the situation. I just want it to be extended to 26 weeks. And 26 weeks are sufficient time for the mother to decide. If she is a brave mother, like we are talking to, as I said, she is a wonderful lady, she has done a great job. but not all the mothers are as privileged or as educated or as knowledgeable as her. And this country, unfortunately, is filled with that kind of mothers who are struggling to feed their family. Now, if they have a child like this, it is very, very hard. It is hard on the rest of the siblings, it is hard on her, and it's hard on the baby itself. So, all I am trying to say is that give her the choice. If she wants to go through it, support her, no problem. But don't say that 20 weeks are off, that's it, you can't decide anything, it's decided already. When I can tell you that 90% of the mothers I deal with, when they are having a seriously crippled fetus, they have no clue what they are in for.
Absolutely.
They have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
This is the situation. This is the way the mothers are. It is very sad. And we spend a lot of time in talking to them, just educating them. We are not convincing them. We are educating. That's all I want. Give them a choice. Don't say that the law doesn't allow you to do it, irrespective of what you wish.